Eyes that see so deep, endless hours, no sleep.
Hello, vampires, and welcome to Mystic Falling, a weekly recap podcast about CW's The Vampire Diaries from two elder millennial women who, surprisingly, have never watched the show before. I am Beth Elderkin.
And I am Abbey Kindler.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 5, You're Undead to Me.
Dun, dun, dun.
Is this a reference to like a different show or thing, or is this just a pun?
I think it's just a pun. Like, you're dead to me, you're undead to me, because the whole thing is we get a lot of lore in this, and apparently without feeding vampires in this universe don't die, they fully mummify.
Yeah.
And then can be brought back to life, ?
Yeah, that is not something in the book, at least not in the first one. It could very well be something that is explained in subsequent books, but I do not know.
I do enjoy the one of the best things about like any sort of vampire story is there's always some sort of law. There's always vampire law, and it's always so unhinged. So I love the idea of like, you will be punished. We will revisit this in 50 years, and we will resurrect your mummified body by pouring blood on it. I'm so confused. Who knows?
They just like, oil can. Oil can. Oh, blood can.
Negative.
I mean, I think that's actually kind of a really cool lore drop, and I think that's a really cool vampire detail that we don't really see in a lot of vampire lore. I know we've gotten similar things in Anne Rice, but not to this degree as far as I know. It's unique and clever, and I like the idea of Damon being like, or Stephan being like, I'll see you in 50 years, and then we're going to talk. Just imagine 50 years of laying around as a mummified corpse. God, what a drag.
Would you be trapped in your body, or would you go docile? Like, I have so many questions. Like, I feel like doing that to a vampire would make them worse, like crazier. You're torturing them and then trapping them in their bodies. I feel like this would be a negative thing.
Oh. Abby, it's commentary on the prison industrial complex.
Oh, you know what? That slapped me right in the face, and I completely missed it. That's me with no media literacy. So thank you, Beth. Thank you for educating.
You're most welcome. All right, well, we're going to start by going to a brief synopsis of this episode. We're going to talk about a couple of our standout moments, go into a little behind the scenes, and of course, some fashion moments. All right, well, this episode aired October 8th. 2009. So we are getting closer to Halloween. And what timing, because next week's episode is going to be a big one.
Ooh.
Very excited. So we start with Elena. She is waking up in her bed. She goes to write in her diary, but oh no. What's the point? She is so upset. She cannot write in her diary. This is a tragedy.
Love how emo crazy Elena is. Like this is such a emo kid vibe. She's like, I'm so upset I can't even journal. And she gets mad at Stephan that she can't journal. She's like, I tried to write my book and I couldn't. And it's your fault. How dare you? How absolutely dare you?
Yeah, how can it be the Vampire Diaries without the diaries? Then it's just the vampire.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Elena goes to wash her face or brush her teeth or do something, and Vicky is in there brushing her teeth. Awkward. Jenna knows. She's chill. Which I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. She's got to pick her battles right now. And Vicky is there. It's been a couple of days. It's been 3 days since Damon was abducted after having the vervain. And so Vicky's clearly been there a couple of times. They're hooking up. She finds some of Elena's pills from the car accident, and she decides to snort it. And this is when Jeremy decides to start becoming a narc.
Jeremy's starting to come out of his down, like he's coming out of his rock bottom, going back to who he was before. Like he was, and again, we'll talk about this later, but boy, I'll tell you what, like Vicky later in the last part of this episode clocks him and reads him to absolute filth because she's not wrong. And she's just like, listen, this is who I am. You knew this at the beginning, and now you're mad at me for being who I was, which, let's just be honest, is toxic as hell. Not that she doesn't have a problem, but.
Yeah. Yeah, she clearly has a lot of problems, and she could use some therapy and some guidance, but it's not up to a man to fix you.
No. And you're not going to get fixed just by him being like, hey, babe, what if we, like, didn't do drugs anymore? Oh, my God. Thank you. I'm cured.
You fixed me, and we're gonna be together forever.
Yeah, love.
Well, where is Damon, you might ask? He is locked in a cellar next to some vervain, slowly desiccating. He is becoming a corpse because Stephan is like, in a week, you're going to become a mummy. I'll throw you in the crypt, and we'll talk in 50 years. And narratively, I understand why we need to have it happen where Stephan doesn't stay. But logically, it makes absolutely no sense that Stephan does not stick around. He has been waiting years to finally get Damon out of the picture. Why can't you just wait a week to make sure you finish the job? Watch him like a hawk until he cannot move.
Yeah, it's as simple as beep boop bop. Hey, Elena, I'm going out of town, and just text her frequently because again, this isn't that far in the past.
Yeah.
We're still texting each other, so you can continue having a relationship via text while you're in Italy and you've gone abroad or something to take Damon back to some family members or something. Whatever. There's still a story here. You post up at that door. You are there until he's down. What are you talking about?
But he doesn't want to lie to her anymore. And then he proceeds to go and lie to her some more.
I love the idea, and I don't even know if they explore this or it's just unwritten, but I love the idea that they're turning these people into vampires at 17, and then they just stay 17. They learn no lessons. No. They still can't control their hormones and their stupid thoughts about life. Like, Stephan should be so much smarter than all of this by all accounts. But really, he just kind of learned how to cook, and he's learned no life lessons at all.
His frontal lobe did not fully develop.
No, and it's the part of the brain where it doesn't, lessons don't sink in.
Yeah. All right. Well, he decides to go to school because he's got to live. I got to live my life.
Got to live my life. I got to get to third period PE and show everybody how fast and cool I am.
I got to go shame another teacher with history facts because
the
other one's dead.
The other one died. Now I got to go tell the science teacher how they don't know anything about bonds and atoms.
Well, we've got Caroline. She is recovering from Damon's attack. Her memory is very foggy. She's talking about whether, she was asking for it with the bites, and which is ick because you were a child, you were underage. It is non-consensual no matter what. I'm sorry. Well, I don't know what the age of consent is in Virginia. We won't get into all those details.
Boy, let's not go down that road.
Meanwhile, Bonnie is just staring at a candle.
She's not even responding. No. The whole time, Carolyn is monologuing. She's going through a little therapy session, and Bonnie is just sitting in the bed holding a candle and staring at it like it owes her money.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, hey, Bonnie, what are you doing? Nothing. You're being weird, not me. How? So Bonnie doesn't. I think that might be all Bonnie says until the very last sentence where she's like, what's happening to me? She's just on another silent journey.
Yeah. Her whole thing is, I'm going to say it with my eyes, and by that, I mean, they're just going to go wide. Which, granted, she gets saucer eyes when she makes them big. She does a good job.
Her whole face has a very amazing, there's no way else to describe it, but she's just such an amazing, baffled, concerned, and concentration face.
Yeah.
Because her eyes get all saucery, her mouth pulls to a straight, and one of her eyebrows just kind of starts migrating to her hairline, and she's just standing there like, and things just start catching on fire around her. Okay. It's awesome.
It is awesome. Stephan tries to make it up to Elena first by inviting her to the grill. He is late. And then when he finally shows up, this old guy shows up, spots him, is like, I know you from June 1953. I remember it like it was yesterday. June 1953.
Was a Tuesday. I was standing on the corner. You were wearing that exact same shirt. We said hello. It's that the joke on CSI shows where they're like, hey, have you seen this guy? And the bartender's washing a dish. Yeah, I've seen him. He comes in here every Tuesday. He wears a green shirt all the time. Always talking to the ladies. More information than you would ever have on anybody. But yeah, that guy's like, you look exactly the same. And Stephan's just like, you are mistaken, sir. Just be like, no, man, my family used to live here. I probably just look really familiar to you. This is not a weird situation. I don't.
No, and he should have been prepared for this.
Yeah, like you can't go back to the town you lived in a time span in which other people have lived to see you, Stephan, and his frontal lobe that has not developed.
Exactly. So they leave, and he decides to make it up to her again by surprising her by making her dinner. He is making an Italian meal with mozzarella. Just got cracked up. And this is a nod to the book, because in the books they are from the Italian Renaissance, and that's when they get turned into vampires. I don't believe that's what happens here. I'm pretty sure they're turned into vampires in the midst of the Civil War. I think we're going to find out maybe in the next episode.
Because it's always the Civil War for some reason. I don't know why it's always involved. I loved how much they telegraphed that Elena was going to cut herself. The whole time they're having this back and forth, they just keep doing close-up shots of cut, cut, cut. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Cut, 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 cut. It goes on for so long. I'm like, is the knife going to come to life and talk to us? I don't understand what's going on. And then Elena cuts herself, and Stephan's eyes go black, and he turns and everything, and she's like, she sees it in the mirror. The whole time, she is just like a step away from like putting it all together, and this man is gaslighting her. No, it's just a reflection. Everything's normal. I definitely don't look like that guy from the 1950s. Like, it's fine. I'm normal. I don't cut it. Elena's going nuts. She's losing her mind.
She's losing her mind because there is a cognitive dissonance. There is a reality that is so out of reality that she can't consider it, because what would that mean? This is a world where reality is reality for those who do not know vampires exist. Like, it's the real world.
And again, this is me reading probably very far into it, but like, her instincts are correct, and she's fighting them because she is having the reaction of prey, of this is a predator. This is a creature that wants to hurt me. And I'm seeing all the signs of it. It is an unnatural being by healing from wounds. It's scary, and just every pattern of behavior is just like one big giant red flag after the other. So she's having genuine survival instincts, and she's just like, maybe if she would have journaled, she could have worked through these feelings and gotten there faster.
Yeah, but she's got to have her mozzarella.
Mozzarella.
And he wants to let her in. He wants to open up and tell her about himself. And by that, it's, I like Seinfeld and The Great Gatsby. That you know all about me now. Never ask a question again.
Again, it's such a stereotypical, like, broody teen thing. I don't like modern music. I like classical music. Seinfeld's the greatest television show ever, and like, people our age just simply don't get it. I love cooking. I love everything. And again, he then just starts explaining Catherine, and it's so obvious this is not the recollections of a teenager. It's very clearly a very old story. He's not old enough to be telling it. Like, did you and Damon date her when you were 8? Because
otherwise this would have been like 6 months ago.
And you should definitely be pretty caught up in her death.
Yeah. All right. Well, our big other thing that's happening is we are getting a car wash, and not just any car wash. It is the quote and quote Sexy Suds Teenage Child Car Wash, which is my standout moment as a concept. So I'm going to hold on to it. But we do have some things that happen during this Sexy Suds Car Wash.
Yeah. Speaking of predators, Chris Hansen is on standby.
He's like, can you come over here? Can you come over here?
Can you park your car over here? Have a seat. We have some questions about why you're here, sir.
So Caroline makes it clear she's going for stripper vibes. Like, this is not your normal car wash. This is a super slutty car wash where the girls are in little bikinis and the guys are in knee-length board shorts.
And Stephan doesn't even take his shirt off through this. I mean,
Neither does Elena.
I love that they're just like, well, this is the main character. She can't be sexy any more than she needs to be. But again, has Caroline seen a stripper? We're going for stripper chic, and she wears the most Daisy Duke. I mean, it looks like the bottoms were like almost like jean shorts. And then the top was this frilly full coverage. I mean, it's cute as hell. Let's not, but it looks like something you would wear if you were doing like a sexy version of like a burlesque Oklahoma.
Well, they definitely go for that vibe with her, the innocence, paired with the more mature experiences that she's having. In this situation, it gave me a bit of Lolita vibes, and I did not care for it.
Oh, okay. I see that. Okay.
A little behind the scenes info for it, though. This car wash was filmed in January.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's why Stephan didn't take his shirt off.
They were like, Elena, it's in her contract. You can't make her too cold. But apparently they were all like huddled up for warmth in between takes.
Oh,
Blankets
no.
and heaters.
Oh, no.
And when you rewatch the scene after knowing that, you can tell, like, the lighting looks like winter lighting.
Oh, no. Well, the other funny part of this happens is we meet the new terrible character.
Just the worst.
Like,
her name is
Tiki?
Tiki, yeah.
And Tiki sucks. She's basically making fun of Bonnie the whole time. And then the old man from before shows up and it's her grandpa. He shows up in a car, presumably to get it washed. And she's like, Grandpa, get out of here. He's got Alzheimer's. And then just shoos him away. What are we doing? What are we doing, Tiki?
Yeah, she also calls someone's car a piece of shit. Although she has to say POS because, television.
Yeah, she's like, oh my gosh, your car is so terrible and awful. You should be so ashamed. And the guy just like rolls his eyes and like leaves. He gets out of his car and walks away. It was
he's like,
the whole scene's so confusing.
I might be mad, but I still need my car washed.
Yeah, girl, whatever. Clean it. I went mudding in this thing. It's a Trans Am. Who cares? But yeah, Bonnie, again, is going through silent. She also hates Tiki, as far as I can tell. Then, like, makes a hose, go fire hose on Tiki, and then starts a car fire? Full arson, full terror, like, awful activity. I'm like, what are we doing here?
And she is, like, spaced out. She is in a trance. And I will admit, the visual looked very cool. Like,
was so cool. Yeah.
Like, she's in her bikini and shorts. She has this giant push broom. She's just standing with her back to the camera as a car is ablaze in front of her. And she's just staring there as everyone around her is freaking out. It was visually, whoever directed this episode, they got it with this moment. I do want to make a note about Tiki, though. The other thing I really didn't like about her is it really felt like it played into angry black woman stereotypes. And I just wanted to point that out because it was very uncomfortable to me. Like the way that they wrote her was not, it was nasty.
Yeah, it was very nasty and a lot nastier than they would do for like a normal character that you're supposed to just dislike. So I just assume Tiki is going to die soon. Like they're writing a character so upsetting that like Bonnie's either going to accidentally kill her or Damon or Stephan's going to accidentally crash out and kill her, and we're not going to have to feel bad because she sucks, which narratively all is cheap for me. I don't like it when they do that at all. I do appreciate this whole scene with Bonnie because I don't know if it's just because of how compelling and cinematic it was, but I feel like Bonnie's going to come in pretty clutch in like a season finale episode, and she's going to like start Damon on fire or something to protect Elena. You know what I mean?
She's going to boss it up. She's going to learn to master her magic. But speaking of dying, that's coming up. We've got another death coming. So Damon, with his last ounces of strength, he compels Caroline to the house to help him escape. This is after he had tried to attack Zach, who had gone down there to just be the dying, just to foreshadow his death.
Stephan told him, don't go down there. We don't know his strength level. Don't go there. Don't go near it. The only reason Zach didn't die earlier in the episode was because Stephan was there to stop it. And still Zach goes down there again later and gets attacked and fully dies after saying some like family member things where he's like, I have been eating vervain my entire existence. I am mostly vervain at this point. I shall come back as a plant. Our
Proof
whole family
that works. And that should be what everybody does forever and ever.
Yeah, and it feels like there's got to be another family member or something coming in, because I do like that there's like the vampire contingent of the Salvador family, and then there's like the rest of the family being like, they're like these redneck vampires. We got to get them out of here. So they've been passing down this vervain growing situation, and Zach has died, so they're gonna have to call in like a second cousin from that moved to Massachusetts so many years ago, and it's gonna cause all kinds of trouble.
Well, Damon has escaped, but he is weak. He does not manage to catch Caroline because he was gonna full on eat her. Like he was going to just dig in and drain that blood. But he doesn't have his ring because Stephan took it, so he can't go outside in the daylight. So even though he has escaped, he still has a weakness.
Yes.
But luckily for him, Vicky is hanging out in the woods in a cemetery with the townies.
Yeah, she's like, I know a place, and it's just the cemetery, and it's not cool and fun like Elena does it because they're just there getting trashed and stoned, and Jeremy's like, this sucks. I don't like it. And she's like, okay, cool. So you think you're better than me? How about you just leave? Because this is my life. I'll die in the cemetery. And by God, she was right.
She was right. And you can tell that this was a set. Like in the first episode, the cemetery was a lot or a cemetery. It was an outdoor location. Now they have built a cemetery set, a wood set that they use.
Yes.
So Vicky tells off Jeremy because Jeremy's trying to fix her. And she's like, screw you, go away. She stays with the townies. The townies are so stereotypical. You just know the next episode is going to begin with all of their bodies on the ground.
Oh, every single one of them. And we're not supposed to feel a lick of sadness about it because they're just a bunch of stoner bums who... I love the reason that Vicky ends up getting attacked is because they were just playing the radio in the truck until the battery clipped off, and then one of them would have to get up and go turn it back on, which is just absolutely peak trash behavior.
Yeah.
Because they're not even near the truck. They're so far from the truck, and they just have the music up crazy loud.
The problem I have with this situation is Vicky sees this strange man at her car. She's got gaps in her memory just like Caroline does. And even if she doesn't, she's a teenage girl. And there is a strange man saying, come here, come over here, I have to tell you something, as he's bent over and huddled over. I would run the frick away.
I believe it is very clear that Vicky does not have survival instincts. She is not having the prey response. She's just like, oh, something neat and cool is happening because I just assume she's on all kinds of Vicodin or whatever she stole from Elena's stash. So maybe not in our right mind, but at the same time, I'm with you. Not to victim blame Vicky, but damn. Yeah. I also wouldn't be in the cemetery in the middle of the night in a town in which people keep repeatedly dying, but that's neither here nor there.
But they caught the mountain lion. All is safe. It was on the news.
All is safe. It was on the news. All on the news. That one guy that the aunt banged back in the day said it was fine, so it's fine.
Yeah, and he's got to go shoot some girls in bikinis and then go film a fire. And he also needs to take Elena to the news station.
And then he needs to, oh my God, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, so Vicky gets attacked. It's presumed she died. I don't think she did. Because if we didn't see her body hit the ground, we didn't see the lifeless eyes, I don't think they would get rid of Vicky that quickly.
No.
So just put a pin in that.
Again, vampire stories. I always love it when they accidentally make the worst person a vampire. I don't know what the lore is for making vampires in this universe yet, but I would love for it to have been, and then she just accidentally or against a will, like, that's why one of my favorite characters in True Blood was always Jessica, because she was just this sweet girl who in no way should have been a vampire. She is just the bane of Bill's existence for the longest time. It's my favorite.
Or in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, what was her name? Shoot, what was the girl's name? Harmony.
Yes.
Harmony, the best vampire, because she was the worst vampire.
Yep. I love terrible vampires so much.
They are the best. Well, Elena is getting sus. She's getting suspicious. She talks to the older guy again. He tells her, June 1953. Look it up. Salvatore House, June 1953. There was a news camera there. You can probably find it. So she convinces Logan to take her to the news station, and he says yes on the guise that, getting in Jenna's good graces so he can steal the watch, which he does. Jeremy's a little sus about that. And Elena is left alone at the news station, and they've got all the records. It just goes back forever with that and the internet.
Forever.
So she finds the footage from 1953. It in no way looks like footage that would have been made in 1953.
Nope, sure doesn't.
It just looks like something in 1995 that they threw some like little spots on top of to make it look black and white and grainy.
I do love that they just like they made it black and white and grainy, but then they kept zooming in on. They were just like, "Oh, is that the nephew?" And they like it's Stephan, and Stephan's in the back, and you're looking at it, and they keep zooming in on this really obscured face, and then right at the last second, they make the resolution just a little bit better. Like, that's not how video works. This is so... You could have just made it very clearly him and having him, like, turn his face or walk off camera or something. But no, he's just looming.
He's looming, weird. And this is also why it was a very bad news situation, because the first thing they would have done is they would have yelled at him to, like, do you have any comments? You know, can we get you for an interview? Can you just can you tell us what happened? They wouldn't just be like, is that the nephew? Dun, dun, dun.
It's like it's a home video. Like, they're treating it like it's like, oh, look, it's a body. Oh, man, is that the nephew? Whatever. It's not new. And granted, I don't know what the news actually looked like in the 50s at all. Was it like this? Like, was it?
I was going to try and look it up on YouTube, and I forgot. So
no, I understand.
Yeah, I'll look it up after, and I'll link something in the show notes so that we can all have a little compare and contrast.
I just assume there wasn't a lot of on-location filming.
Yeah,
like guy at a desk, and it's / a radio show. Like, maybe they'll show pictures and stuff, but I feel like on location is a big swing for a country that hasn't gone to the moon yet.
For June 1953.
It was a Tuesday. The weather was 72 degrees. The humidity was hotter than it's ever been in the world. But I have Alzheimer's and I might not be remembering correctly.
Well, this picture of Stephan is the last straw. And Elena has to come to grips with the reality. She puts all the pieces together. Uh-oh, vampire. And just as Stephan is grabbing a stake so he can go hunt Damon, Elena goes up and goes, what are you, Blackout?
I know what you are. You're ice cold. You're super fast. You don't get injured, blah, blah, blah. Say it. Ice cream cake. I'm a vampire. Yeah. Which, okay, and then I'm just going to cut to the part where the DVD. First of all, we've made it to the end of disc 1 with this episode.
Congratulations.
So they did do a cut scene, which was a scene that wasn't in the episode, but it's a confusing scene that wasn't in the episode because it's Stephan and Elena wandering the cemetery and her saying, wow, I can't believe you were here when this was built. And Stephan be like, I've lived a long time. Where would this have gone in the episode? This is just them talking like she's now come to terms with him being a vampire. I feel like it's a cutscene from 2 episodes from now.
I mean, that could very well be the case, and they just put it in the wrong DVD.
Probably. It's probably very fair. But yeah, she's just like, tell me, what's going on? And... just love that he has a very ornate spike as well. I love that there's like a fancy murder weapon in their home.
It is detailed.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Well, we are going to go ahead and talk about our 2 standout moments. For me, the one is the car wash, the Sexy Suds car wash, because we're going to get into a little bit of a history lesson, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, because this to me was so uncomfortable and it aged so poorly. But it is a very perfect encapsulation of what the culture was like at the time for girls and women.
Yeah.
So we have a variety of age ranges in our audience. Abbey and I grew up in the 90s and the 2000s. And especially in the 2000s, it was a tough time to be a young woman. It was tough. We had heroin chic in the 90s. You had to be super skinny, but you also had to have a great body like Kim Kardashian. And the social climate was designed to both expose women and shame them for being exposed. So at the time, we had Girls Gone Wild was a thing. If you don't know what that is, it was literally guys with cameras would go to bars, get women super drunk, and then ask them to lift up their shirts and show their breasts. And then they would film it.
They had a bus.
Yeah.
And they would go to college towns, and it was like a thing where you'd be like, oh my God, how's that Girls Gone Wild? But it's like you signed all of your rights away. It was always full face. Like some of that, I don't know. I would love to know if any women were on that and if it like comes back at all, because it's not the consensual not the consensual putting your face for all to see like an OnlyFans situation would be where you're in control of it. It was just, you're drunk at a bar and you're having a good time, and then someone gives you, and you're like, oh, I've heard of Girl Gone Wild. That sounds like it's going to be an amazing thing for my career. And then guess what? It's not. And your face is going to be on TV at 3 o'clock in the morning. That, you know, I wake up on my couch and I see Joe Francis telling me that I need to get Girls Gone Wild VHSs.
There was also like things like the National Lampoon films, like the Van Wilders, Playboy. Yeah.
Playboy made a resurgence. They had Girls Next Door, which, if you want to just truly be horrified, the girls that were in Girls Next Door, because I watched that show religiously. And at the time I was like, oh yeah, whatever. I've tried to rewatch that show now as an adult at my big age, going, oh, this is crazy uncomfortable. But Holly and Bridget do a Girls Next Door podcast, and they talk about how terrible their lives were during that whole thing and how gross and awful it was. And it makes you feel gross. Especially, again, as someone who watched it religiously, going, oh no, I perpetuated this.
Yes, and we didn't perpetuate it.
Well, I know,
the culture at large, largely controlled by men, did.
Yep.
So, because
all you
our
have to
bodies
do-
didn't, they didn't exist for us. They existed for men, and then they shamed us for existing.
All you have to do is look up Jessica Simpson in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
They told me that woman was fat.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, look how humongous this woman was. And it was like, oh no, she's my size. I need to start not eating.
And so, like, you had this culture that was sexualizing girls and women with, like, Britney Spears and Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan. There's literally an episode of South Park called Stupid Spoiled Horror Video Playset. Where
Fantastic.
But then you had the rise of the not that girl kind of thing, which where you're like, I'm a cool girl. I'm Avril Lavigne. I'm not like the other girls. And it was basically women were turned against each other. Girls were turned against each other for the sake of men. And like, perfect example, just listen to Pink's Stupid Girls from 2006.
I was about to say the same thing. Stupid Girls. I was about to quote that thing. Beth, you and me right here.
Hive mind. That song and that music video do not age well. You look at it and it's uncomfortable. Like, I watched it and I listened to it and I was like, I almost felt guilty. I'm like, I liked the song. I contributed to this. This was what I thought was okay.
That's me with my iPod, like my very original iPod with the little dial thing on the front of it, just listening to it on the bus, being like, yeah, that's right. I can't be like Britney Spears. I'm othered. I think Pink has come out and been like, oh, that song was a parody. Girl, no, it wasn't.
No,
sure wasn't.
We know that it was not.
I love Pink so much, and I think she's doing some great things, but that wasn't it.
I also pulled out some like studies about like how women were sexualized, and one stat I'm going to close out with is how on Rolling Stone in the 2000s, 17% of men and 83% of women featured on the cover were sexualized. So 17% of men were sexualized, 83% of women were sexualized in the 2000s. And this included like Britney Spears.
With the Teletubby?
With the Teletubby.
Yeah.
There was one for Lindsay Lohan when she turned 18. It was like, finally, 18. And we have grown a lot since then. And that's a good thing. Like, this is not the same culture, but I am noticing attempts to go backwards. Case in point, the most recent Rolling Stone cover of Sabrina Carpenter.
What was the most recent?
She's topless. She's naked from like the waist up. She's in little underwear and like little socks or something. Okay. And her hair is covering her breasts. And it's very coquettish for the male gaze.
So I will say Sabrina Carpenter specifically, from what I know tangentially about her, that's her whole vibe anyway. That could have just been the cover of her like, she's going through her, like, it's that phase of, oh, well, I'm going to do all this stuff. And then she'll, like, in about 5 to 10 years, she's going to be a more serious artist who's got a whole different vibe. And that was just her scantily clad years. But you're not wrong. I mean, everything she's doing is male gaze directed. Whether she's doing it super knowingly or not has yet to be determined.
Yeah, like her most recent album cover for Man's Best Friend is literally her on her knees with a dog, having her hair pulled by a man. But I don't want to make her responsible because it's not her fault. And that's what this culture does, is it It puts women in a pressured situation to expose themselves for men. And
Mhm.
then we are expected to hate them for it because
man,
they're getting
yeah.
the attention of the men that we're not.
Yeah, that Sabrina Carpenter thing blew up in a way that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah. But there was also a deeper conversation that was happening that wouldn't have happened 20 years ago.
Also true.
Where that I'm grateful for. I know this whole car wash conversation.
What the hell
went
were we talking
off the
about?
rails,
Vampire Diaries?
But this just felt to me like a perfect encapsulation of what the culture was like at the time, where girls were being exposed in the middle of January, having to
Ugh.
wear bikinis as high schoolers to do a car wash.
And at no point did someone go, hey, maybe this is weird and creepy.
And then Elena is not like other girls because she's the one who gets to wear a tank top.
She wears not only a tank top, but at one point it does also looks like she's wearing like a jacket. So she gets to wear a jacket, and Stephan never takes his shirt off, because they are our main characters and they cannot be exposed in that way because they're trying to keep Stephan pure as well, even though he's a vampire. But yeah, everybody else, Tiki is in a full string bikini.
Mm-hmm.
That poor girl, like the poor actress who is probably freezing in her eye patch swimsuit. Again, they all look great.
They look
There's nothing
great,
wrong with any of that, but it was just one of those, if I was like, oh, I'll go to a car wash, and it was just a bunch of 17-year-old girls in string bikinis, I'd leave.
I would be so
this
uncomfortable.
This isn't okay. Like,
yeah.
ugh.
If there's one lesson to take away from this is when you see things like that, especially in shows in the 2000s, our gut reaction tends to be, at least for us as older women, we were conditioned. Our gut reaction is to be like, oh, they should put on clothes. Ugh, they're too exposed. I'm trying to look at it from a different perspective of this was not their choice. They were actors who were forced into the situation by male writers who wrote this for them so they could have hot girls in bikinis. Like this was not their fault. And it's just reframing the patriarchy.
It's negative, derogatory. I will say this is one of my favorite things that I had like kind of come around to, of being like, when you again, as someone of an elder millennial status that came up through that, a lot of the times I will look at a person and I will have an initial thought that is that weird ingrained early 2000s body dysmorphia body thought of being like, oh, she shouldn't be, oh no, whatever. Your first thought is not a correct thought. It's a conditioned thought.
Yep.
So if you have that thought, that's fine. Just maybe let's keep it to ourselves and like do a little bit of work around it. Because guess what? We're all just people, and everybody's bodies are different, awesome shapes. And if I was wearing something that didn't make me look good and someone walked up to me and said something, I would die. Like, who cares? There's so much There's so much more terrible shit happening in the world. Just let's all get to wear halter tops and little tiny shorts and be happy. Okay? Yeah. Let's just, who cares?
All right, tangent over, rant over. Well, not a rant. It's a conversation.
It was a very nice trip down memory lane, but also very educational. I appreciate you, Beth.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. And I appreciate you telling me about your standout moment.
Well, Beth, mine is equally as important culturally, significantly, and as aged. I have a TED Talk prepared and a slide deck that I will be showing. No, my whole standout moment was I just appreciated Zach's whole thing. This is such a downshift from the last conversation. I feel like an idiot. No, the standout moment for me was just Zach's character in general, where again, a TV show that just so on the nose tells you someone's about to die from the moment you see him. Like, I knew Zach was marked for death the moment he stepped on screen, episode 1. You're like, that man's about to die. I don't know how soon, and it was a little sooner than I thought it would be, but oh, that poor boy. Because he doesn't listen, but he's apparently been cultivating vervain his entire life under secrecy, and no one knew about it. And then all of a sudden he just kept making every stupid choice and then fully died for it.
Yeah, this was stupid. Like, with the coach, he was just a victim of circumstance.
Yes.
Like, literally, wrong place, wrong time. With Vicky, she was a victim of a predator. With Caroline, she was also a victim of a predator. With Zach, he was just stupid.
Hey, you let 2 vampires in your house, one, and now they're fighting with each other. And there's one downstairs starving. I feel like someone who knows to cultivate vervain and drink it since they were a teenager would know that he doesn't have to suck all the blood out of your body to kill you. He could simply put his hands on you.
Yeah. And that's what he did.
He put his hands on him because Caroline came down in her stupor of just being like, just sort of being like called. And she's like, I guess I'll just keep walking. And he's like, hey, where are you going? And she's like going down the stairs. She's like, I hear a voice. It's calling for me. And he lets her out. I should have gone back and checked, but rewinding on a DVD makes me want to walk into traffic, not to be overly dramatic. But I'm pretty sure when she walks into the house, she's wearing wedge heels or equally as terrible shoes. Because when she runs away, it looks like she's barefoot or in flip-flops. But when
she was barefoot.
arrives,
she threw her shoes at him.
Okay,
like one of them fell off, and she threw another one at him.
Yeah, she's wearing terrible shoes. So I was just like, oh, that's when I thought she was going to die. I'm like, you're not going anywhere in wedge heels.
Yeah.
Like, you could barely stand in wedge heels, let alone any sort of movement.
Well, Abby, let's go ahead and take a little trip into your fashion corner. Which fashions inspired you this week?
Oh, Beth, it's always going to be the swimsuits because, again, like I said, it was very Daisy May, this the bikini that she was wearing with the ruffles and things like that. But that was a very specific type of bikini that I feel like I don't see anymore. You don't see a good tube top bikini anymore.
No.
You know why? Because they fall off. Tube top bikinis are not meant to do anything other than lounge around in. Yeah. So the fact that she tried to wear this during a car wash, there's no way they didn't have like her just taped into that thing. Yeah. Because if you've ever worn a tube top, you know that the moment you like lift your arm, secret's out. Like you spend your whole life pulling them up. But again, Stephan is wearing his like nice gray shirt that's very fitted. I like how that, because I don't know how to explain this without being really weird, but the way that this actor is built, it makes t-shirts hang on him in a way that seems early 2000s for me. I don't know how to explain it.
It's got the Abercrombie and Fitch body.
Thank you. That's what it, it's just like the t-shirt fits him, but it doesn't fit him. And since he's brooding, his shoulders are forward a little bit, so it drapes it a little bit. And it's just like, it's a plain t-shirt. What do you mean he's wearing the hell out of it? Like, I don't understand.
He's doing it. He's doing it.
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to Jenna's date outfit. Because this was so 2009, it hurt my soul. The chunky chain necklace, the hunter green top or dress or combination of the two.
Guys, dress tops/dresses. You can't tell which one's which, but you're just going to wear pants just to be sure. I had so many of those. Like, It's just like you're wearing your low-rise pants, but you're also wearing a tank top that like stops mid-thigh. Like, could it be a dress? Probably. You're going to have to be very careful with it. But everything about Jenna reminded me about, like, my best friend in the world. I met her in college. Going through the early 2000s, we would go to the store after homecoming and prom season and go buy homecoming and prom dresses on discount and wear them to the club. I have so many pictures, and I'm just like, why am I wearing a full homecoming dress? What am I doing? Like, that seems the vibe that Jenna has. Jenna's just got chunky necklaces and a bunch of JCPenney prom dresses she bought on sale if a weatherman decides to ever take her on a date.
Yeah. Well, everyone, we would love to thank you for joining us for this latest episode of Mystic Falling. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get those wonderful podcasts. If you want to see our wonderful faces as we're telling these stories, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also subscribe to us on Instagram. Woo, we're on Instagram too. And we're going to be back next week with Season 1, Episode 5, Lost Girls. And guess what, Abby? We're going back in time. Back to the 1800s.
Gotta go back in time.
We're going to get an origin story.
Cannot wait for the old school fashion. Abby's fashion corner will now just be hoop skirts.
And curls, like the beautiful like barrel curls in front of the face.
Beautiful barrel curls, just full skirts.
And bodices.
I can't.
Bosoms.
And the bosoms, heaving bosoms, and then the boys in their 15 layers of jackets and pomp and circumstance, all very Pride and Prejudice. I'm so excited.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We will see you next time for Mystic Falling. In the meantime, keep your ring on, drink that vervain, and Abby, where'd the cat go?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. I put her down so I could grab my cup. Here she is.
The audacity. That is our mascot cat.
This is our mascot. This is Tetra. She is 16 and a half years old and purring like a fiend.
She's
loves our
almost
podcast.
Stephan's age.
She's
almost a
gonna be a-
vampire.
Vampire cat. Could you imagine the terror of a vampire cat?
I can and I will.
Moonlight